welcome to the Sharpe Way Show. So happy to have you with me this evening. Yes, it's Friday evening, and some of you are saying, Larry, I missed you yesterday. Yes, it's true. I'm a little bit late today, a little bit past 7 p.m. on the East Coast. And you said, Larry, I missed you yesterday. You weren't on. I was not. I sadly, or positively, depends how you look at it, have been insanely busy. New case, new clients came out this week. I had to jump through hoops, change things, stop some things, rebuild some other stuff, add some stuff, learn some stuff, travel a little bit. Had lots of other to take care of. Just couldn't do it last night. So I apologize, guys. I will be reposting everything. And I have to give you something else, which is not great news for some of you. Probably no shows this weekend. But I will be doing a show next Monday, Inauguration Day. Yes, I will. Probably 7 p.m. I'm not sure the time, but I'm pretty sure it'll be 7 p.m. on Monday. And I'll be bringing aboard with me next Monday, the one and only Michael Voss. He will be joining me next Monday, probably around 7 p.m. So I will have a couple of shows coming up here tonight, and then on Monday also. Probably none on this weekend, but maybe if I can find some time, maybe. But I am terribly behind, sadly. Again, I have a job. I know you think, Larry, all you do is this. Wouldn't that be nice? Not true. I also have bills to pay, as we all do. And I know you have bills to pay, so please pay your bills also. I'm a big fan of people paying bills. That's an amazing thing, so please do that if you would. Alrighty. Yes, AMA. Why do an AMA? Because every week I know you guys love your AMAs. I do. But I wanted to start it with something I thought was kind of interesting. And that is the peace or ceasefire deal, or whatever you want to call that deal. The deal that is here. And what I love about the actual deal right now. Oh, hold on. Let me change something real fast if I could. Okay. How is that better? Someone just told me that I have bad mic. So is my mic better? I hope it is now. So yeah. Anyway, whatever you want to call the deal that supposedly is a ceasefire here in Gaza, there's a couple of things that I want to bring up regarding this. Number one, everybody is taking credit for it. So I guess that's cool, I guess. But the reality of it, what bothers me about this, and it's so obvious, is the guy who actually is responsible for this thing. I think most people who know what's happening know the real guy responsible for this. It's that guy, oh geez, if I get his name, is Steve Witkoff. I think I'm saying that right. That's kind of Trump's guy, right? Trump sent this guy over there. This guy's like a real estate dude or something. He's not even like a crazy, he's not even really a crazy, like foreign policy guy. He's like some guy who just makes deals. And so he went over there and somehow he got a deal. Now, does that mean he's that great? I don't know. I don't know if he's that great. But here's what I know. Trump said, just yell at these guys. Tell them I'm going to do stuff and give them something and go back and forth. Now, a lot of people will say, and I've heard this before, particularly from the right, oh, it's because Trump is so tough and he finally gave it to Hamas or whatever. No, that's not what happened. He always talks that way. And I get it. It's a smart way of talking. He is a marketing guru, of course. But in reality, Phil is correct. And Phil says negotiating skills translate. Yes, here's what I can guarantee you. He used both sticks and carrots to make this happen, I'm sure, for all sides. Because in case you didn't know, it isn't just Hamas. It's also Iran. It's not just Iran. It's also Israel. It isn't just Israel. It's factions within Israel. All of those people have been dealt with somehow. It's also the Saudis, right? It's also Egyptians, right? They all have to somehow be. That's why this guy, Steve, was going all around, right? He's in Doha, he's in Dubai, he's all over the place, right? Of course. They've all got to get together to figure this thing out. And they give a carrot here, a little stick threat here, carrot there. My worry about this, and I do have a couple of worries. Okay, I got to be clear on a couple of things. I am very happy that there is any type of ceasefire. I always want war to stop, of course. Of course. With that in mind, I would prefer a peace that would last, right? If I have a choice of no peace or peace, I'll take a peace, even if it's a short one, I'll take it. But what I want is a peace that lasts. If you remember, I said this, people were saying, Larry, why weren't you talking about this war last year? Why weren't you talking about it? Why didn't you put it up there? And I didn't talk about that much. Why? Because I said why. Because it doesn't matter. At the end, Israel will not have secure borders, and the Gazans will not have a viable government that they deserve. Those two things are not going to happen. I told everybody that a year ago, 2 years ago. That's my worry about this ceasefire, is that exactly what I said is going to happen. Don't get me wrong. I also told you that the Israelis wanted wanted a buffer zone. They will get that. They've already done it, right? They put a buffer zone already in Syria. They have a buffer zone already in Lebanon. They have a buffer zone now in the Gaza Strip. They've got buffer zones. What they wanted, they're going to get that. But the buffer zones aren't solid borders like they have right now with Jordan and they have right now with Egypt, right? So Israel has two good borders. Egypt, Jordan. I would like Israel to have all good borders. That would be nice. And I would like the Gazans to have a viable government that supports them and that they are happy to have and that they can vote for on. I would like them to have a real government, a real place to live. I'd like them to have a nice life too. And those two things are not going to happen, which is what I've been saying. That's the sad part about this ceasefire, is that I think that that's the same thing. Next, there's three, if I'm not mistaken, three levels of this peace, this ceasefire, right? Like 1, 2, and 3 phases. I'm not sure we get to phase 2. Maybe. I don't know if we will. Why? There is a big chunk of the Israeli government which is like, no, not at all. Plus, what did Trump's guy have to agree with when it came to Iran? What did he have to agree with when it came to Egypt? What did he have to agree to when it came to Israel? I don't know what those things are. I'm sure there's something, right? I'm sure there's something. Iran takes losses all the time. And the Iranian president was just in Russia. He was hanging out with Putin, saying all kinds of stuff. Supposedly he's gonna give, this is supposedly, I don't know if this is true. This is the rumor. I don't know if it's true. Supposedly he's gonna send some troops over there to help fight the Ukrainians, supposedly. Is that gonna happen? I don't know. But supposedly he is. So that's supposed to happen too. So if he's doing that, wait a minute. So who's taking care of Syria? Wait a minute. I don't know. So my concern with this in general is I'm happy it is stopping. I don't like war. I wish the Ukraine war would stop too. I don't like these wars. I'm glad it's stopping it. And to be forward, I'm not surprised. What I knew is there'd be no peace treaty by Inauguration Day. I said maybe a ceasefire, and there was. By the way, Mike Voss was on. He also said there'd be a ceasefire by today, by the Inauguration Day. I think it will be. I think it will happen. But I don't see a peace treaty yet at all. We're not there. If we get to past stage 3 of this ceasefire, if it actually happens, we have a shot at a peace treaty. We do. We have a shot. But here's the hard part of a peace treaty. If they actually make an actual peace treaty, not a ceasefire, there will have to be security guarantees for Gaza. Who's going to do that? Who's going to do that? Right? That's the issue. Who's going to do that? Who's going to do that? Right? I don't see that. So that's why I don't see an actual peace treaty for a long time, because that would have to be the answer. Now, will somebody pay in some way, shape, or form to rebuild Gaza? Somebody will. It'll be debt, and someone will make money. Probably half of American companies will pay a bunch of money to do it. Israeli companies will pay a bunch of money to do it. So they'll all make money off rebuilding Gaza, of course, right? They'll do that. But the question becomes, will there be some type of guarantee? So in case the Israelis invade again, who's going to do that? All right. In theory, not in practice, it would be someone like Russia or China or Iran. But come on. Is that really going to be? Right. Rick says, he says, the Turks have shown interest. Are the Turks going to do that? Now, to be forward, if the Turks actually, I do not see that happening. Unless somehow, now, could this is the, Rick, you bring up the point I'm talking about, right? What was promised? Would the Turks do it? Is there a way the Turks would make a safety guarantee for Gaza? Yes, there is a way. There is a way. But the only way that happens is everybody sells the Kurds down the river. If everybody agrees to sell the Kurds down the river and the Turks can slaughter Kurds, if everyone agrees that, yeah, slaughter the Kurds, we don't care. If you sell the Kurds down the river, everyone does. Russians go too bad. Iranians go too bad. Americans go too bad. Everyone goes too bad for the Kurds. Good luck with that. If everyone does that and allows the Turks to slaughter them, maybe the Turks might step in and do that with Gaza. Now, the problem is the Israelis would not want that at all. The Israelis would be 100% against that. Now, the advantage is, if anyone could force that on the Israelis, it's Trump. If someone, again, I'm not sure that can be done. The Israelis might go, no, because who the Israelis do not want to fight is the Turks. I mentioned this last year. That's the only group within that entire area that the Israelis would actually be afraid of. They're not afraid of the Iranians. They're not afraid of the Jordanians. Not afraid of Egyptians. They're not afraid of Saudis. They're not afraid of them. Turks, they are. That they're afraid of. They do not want to fight the Turks. And I get it. I wouldn't either. This is a smart move. I would not want to either, right? It's not the thing you want to do. You don't want to do it. That would be the only issue. So that would be the only way that would work. So to your point, Rick, I think that makes sense. I have a tough time seeing that happen. But maybe, because you'd have to sell a lot of people in the river. Now, people are also saying, well, this is because, Trump finally beat up on Hamas. No, he beat up on Hamas and he beat up on Israel. Again, both sides didn't want this. I mean, for different reasons, obviously, because they have different reasons for wanting it. So he was able to get both of them. So I think he gave them both something also. Again, this is a rumor. I don't know it to be true. Rumor is he has given the Israelis some guarantees that they will assist or help the Israelis in some way in some attack on Iran. Don't know if that's true. That's a rumor. That's what I heard. So to your point, Rick, if he promised the Turks, some way help it out in Gaza or screwing over the Kurds, that would make sense too if he did that. Trump always uses carrot and stick. He did it with NATO. He did it with North Korea, but he always talks like, I'm going to destroy you all, which people love. They eat that up. We eat that up in America. Oh yeah, tough guy. We eat it up. We love it. And then he does both. Because again, he's a negotiator. And he sent his boy Wickoff over there to negotiate back and forth. So that's the piece that I'm concerned about. I don't know if that's actually going to work in the long run. My worry is by stage 2, it fails. Because particularly if you are correct, I'm not saying you're correct, I don't know. But if you are correct, Rick, and the Turks are involved, Israelis don't want that. They would rather go back to war before phase 3 happens than have to face the Turks. That's for sure. They do not want to face the Turks. That's not a fight they want to pick. Now, to be forward, the Turks don't want to fight the Israelis either. Like, it's not like either one wants to fight. That's why I'm saying the Turks wouldn't do it unless they got what they wanted, which is to get rid of the Kurds. Would they risk being on a border with Israel to get rid of Kurds? Maybe. That's the maybe. They might do that. But neither one of them wants to hit each other. That's going to be horrible. Like, if that war happens, that's not a friendly war. We will get involved. That will be a proxy war. Guaranteed we'll be involved. And NATO will be involved. It will be a disaster. If that happens, it's a disaster. Because we couldn't officially fight the Turks because we're all NATO. So we have to proxy war them somehow, in some way, shape, or form. With who? We're going to sacrifice, 500,000 Israelis? They don't have that many bodies to sacrifice. That's not going to go well. That's all I'm saying. So I think you're correct, but I really don't think that's a good idea. So any case, thank you for that piece. I hope I covered what I was concerned about, what I was thinking about, and why I'm a little bit concerned about this in general, right? I'm a little bit concerned. I hope it goes well, but I'm a little bit concerned. All right, let me grab you guys. We are an AMA, so I will take whatever you like. So yes. Michael says, so we're going to do an AN. I think you mean AMA next Monday. Probably not an AMA, but maybe. I don't know. I'll bug Mike and see what he thinks. I think we'll probably just start talking about the inauguration, whatever happens there. By the way, in case you guys hadn't heard already, the inauguration now is going to be indoors. We haven't had an indoor inauguration in like 40 years. It's been a long time since we've had an indoor inauguration, but now we're going to have one. Supposedly, if I saw, it was supposed to be like 6 degrees or something like that on that day. So they were like, okay, that's it. We are going to go, we're going to go indoors. Mike says, can I buy your book, Larry? Not yet. I know I've been talking about it forever. I'm overwhelmed with work and this. I just have not been able to take care of what I take care of. I'm working with somebody to get it done. I have one final chapter to write. Once that's done, I'll put the book out. But yeah, still have some time. Phil says, free Ross, free Dexter. Now, Trump can free Ross. Trump cannot free Dexter. Sadly, Trump cannot. That takes Kathy Hochul to free Dexter because that was a New York State law. So sadly, we can't do that. And Cheyenne asks, who's Dexter? It is Dexter Taylor. Dexter Taylor was put into prison for legally purchasing firearm parts, legally purchasing them all, putting them together as a gunsmith, selling them to no one, using them in no crime, but just doing that, again, legally, arrested and put in prison because of Kathy Hochul, my governor, her Majesty Queen Kathy, first of her name, her new ghost gun law, which made illegal guns illegaler, so illegal that even just putting one together is a felony. I'm going to say it again. Putting it together in New York State is a felony. You don't have to use it, sell it, promote it, nothing. You put it together. You are now a violent felon. I wish I was joking. And he's now doing 10 years. Correct, 10 years. And nobody cares. Well, no one of stature cares. So, yes. I hope that answers your question. So, anyway. Dave says, by the way, Trump took the credit until the fighting resumes. This is the thing that I'm concerned about, Dave, and this is another concern I have. When the fighting goes on, and Dave says the ceasefire doesn't mean they'll be fighting it in 2 or 3 years. That's my worry. You've hit the point that I'm concerned about. My worry is what happens, and let me give you my concern with this, right? As let's say we're in phase 2 or phase 3, and let's say, for the sake of argument, right, that actually the Turks are involved. Rick is correct, and the Turks are actually involved. And they're like, hey, we'll look, we want to fix the Middle East because we're tired of our crappy borders. We haven't had a decent eastern border in freaking 200 years. We'd like to have one too. So let us slaughter Kurds and we'll be involved in this, right? Say that Rick is correct, right? He does that. Israelis are going to want that. Like, no, that ain't going to work. No, we can't have that. So we attack Gaza again or whatever the thing is. Or the opposite. The Gazans realize they're not going to get what they want. They're not going to get a viable government. They're not going to. So they go, we're going to attack again because it's a prison or I fight. I'll die fighting, right? They decide that. Or the Iranians go, we have been boxed in so badly, and they have been, right? The loss of Syria has severely boxed in Iran now. They're in a very bad spot right now. And I told you guys this, by the way, again, I told you some moment. I told you one of the reasons why we left all those guns and all those weapons in Afghanistan, right? It was like, oh, it was only a mistake. And I said, no, it wasn't. They knew what they were doing. Remember I said that? I said that the generals told everyone that they should leave it in there. Leave it. It's cheaper. Remember, the generals told Trump initially, leave all the stuff there. It's cheaper. Remember that? That was, and I told you guys that was said. Then when Biden was leaving, they told Biden the same thing. Now, Trump didn't care. Trump was like, we got to pull this out. We can't do this. So Trump said earlier before he left. Then he left office. Here comes Biden. They tell Biden the same thing. Cheaper, leave it there. Biden goes, okay, and leaves it. But why did the generals want to leave it there? Why? You think that sounds crazy. Why? Because the Afghanis don't like the Pakistani government, nor do they like the Iranian government. There's already been border skirmishes. And guess what weapons they're using in the border skirmishes against Pakistan and against Iran? Ours. We rearmed the Taliban so they can fight our proxy war. Yes. I know what? Yes. Look it up. I'm not making it up. That's true. Nothing I say here, I make up. You know that. You look, I'm doing it live. You can just check and Google if you want to. It's fine. Yes. So literally, we wanted someone to fight Iran directly on their border, Afghanistan, and we wanted someone to fight Pakistan on their border, Afghanistan. So yes. So remember when we made those borders, we didn't care about what tribe was tribe. We said, this is British, and this is French, and this is whatever. We just drew lines, and this is the Ottomans, and this is the Persians, because we said so, and that's why we did it. The tribes don't care about that shit, and they're still fighting. So we rearmed them. They're very well armed, and there's already border skirmishes right now. Already. So Iran's in a bad spot. So now Iran's in a bad spot. So now when Iran is in a bad spot, do they decide, well, why don't we throw some money at Gaza? We don't have much of it, but Gazans are cheap because they're busted up and broken from what happened with the Israeli war here. Let's throw them a couple $2 billion. That's all we can afford. So because we don't have any money from Syria anymore. That's all broken. So we'll throw the Gazans like $2 billion and say, fight again. And that might sound silly, but that could happen. So to your point, Dave, my worry isn't that they'll fight. My worry is what causes the fight. How does that work? Who starts it? And if that happens, where do we fall? Do we fall back to a proxy war again? Do we just keep funding the Israelis? They're fighting again? Do the Israelis start making even more buffer zones? So, yes. Again, Trump will take the credit, of course. And to be forward, this is happening on his watch, right? When he takes over is when this will go into play. And it is fair when it comes to what happens on your watch. You get, look, I even though the pullout from Afghanistan was an absolute utter disaster and embarrassment, I still give Biden credit for ending it. He did end that. That he did get in probably the worst way possible, but he did end it. So he gets credit for ending it. Now, don't get me wrong. Trump did negotiate it. True. But Biden didn't have to go through with it. He could have just said no. He went through with it. And so he has credit for that. And did Biden's team have something to do with the conversations on the ceasefire? Yes, they had something to do with it. True. But it wasn't going to happen without Trump's guy. I mean, that's just real, right? If you want to give like an assist to the Biden team, you could. You give him assist, but that's it. The goal was actually scored by the Trump team. That's what happened for the ceasefire. And it's going to take place during the Trump administration. He should get credit for it. Now, if it fails, to your point, Dave, his fault too. So yes, he gets credit and or, blame, either one. That Liberty lady over on Rumble says, Larry, we are 8 followers shy of 300 here on Rumble. Sharpies can also show support here by becoming a monthly subscriber or send Rumble rants like this one. Please follow on Rumble at Larry Sharpe. Yes, so guys, if you want to follow me over there, and as always, if you like what I'm saying, click the button. You know the one I'm talking about. Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. That's the one. If you haven't already shared this someplace, you should. Put it into, share it on X, share it into a Facebook post, share it wherever. Share it wherever you're going to share it. Doesn't matter. Please share it. Sharing is caring. I know you all care. Why don't you care? I know you do. If you have not subscribed to me on whatever you're watching this on, why not? Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Rumble. Follow me on X. All the things. Subscribe on YouTube. And when you subscribe, click all notifications. What I found out, I did not know this, only 14% of the people who are subscribed to my channel selected all notifications. 14%. No wonder I can't get as many people watching, because you guys didn't click all notifications when you click subscribe. Only 14% of you did. It should be like 99% of you. So if you click subscribe, make sure you click the button that says all notifications. You can also become a member if you want to on YouTube, $4.99 per month. Click that join button. Or a member on Rumble also. Click that subscribe button only during the live when it comes to Rumble. I don't know why Rumble's that way, but it is. So do that if you could. All right, let me keep going if I could. All righty. Let's see here. Vivek says the ceasefire did happen mainly because of Trump. Correct. Yes. Yes. All I'm saying is, could you give the Biden administration an assist because they kind of kept it warm? Yes, you could if you wanted to. Look, if you're a Biden fan, I get it. You want to give an assist, you can. But it happened. You're right, because the Trump team is what actually got it done. That is true. Yes, I think that's absolutely true. 100%. I agree with you. Ryan, thank you for $2. War is a racket. General Smedley Butler, USMC. Correct. It is. And that's the reason why I'll go into the Afghani piece. If the Afghans, literally Taliban, I'm not joking, if they actually start a hot war, ongoing war against Iran, we will back them. Yes. 20 years fighting them, we will back them. We'll kind of have to, because half the weapons are going to be ours. If someone's got to maintain them and give them weapons and give them bullets and stuff, yeah, So yeah, we'll back them. Yeah, 100%. We'll back them. And you know who else will be there in a couple years? Ukrainians. Once that Ukrainian war ends, whenever that ends, I think that'll end this year is my gut. My gut says this year is going to end. So when that one ends, what's going to happen next? Well, all those Ukrainians who worked on Western weaponry, what are they going to do? They're going to go to Afghanistan and help the Afghanis fight the Iranians with all the Western weapons. Of course they are. They're going to make cash. They're going to get paid. Who's going to pay them? We are. Your taxpayer dollars is going to pay Ukrainian mercenaries to help Afghanis fight Iranians. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm telling you that now because when it does happen 2 years from now, you go, holy crap, Larry was right. Yes, that's how the game is played because what Ryan says was a racket. The military-industrial complex has to keep rolling. So there's got to be war somewhere. Somewhere. Then we'll have better relationships with Afghanistan or whatever it is. Whatever we'll do. We'll come up with an answer. Or we'll somehow do it via, I don't know, Ukraine or something. We'll find a way. When there's a war, there's a way. That's how that works. So, yes. I hope that makes sense. Yes. All right. Shredan over on Rumble says, the Russians might be letting a boatload of weapons behind in Syria. Oh, also true. It is. I like that boatload. It's pretty smart. Yeah, because that is a port, by the way. That Tartus is a port in Syria. Smart. That's savvy. Straight on. Thank you for that. Yeah, it's possible, right? They might just leave weapons in there also. Look, the Russians don't want to give up their bases in Syria. I get it, and they didn't. They negotiated to keep them. I told you they would. Remember, I said that early on. They will absolutely want to keep their bases, and they will negotiate to keep their base, and they did. So the Russians are going to keep their base there. For them. Remember, this is the only base that the Russians have in Mediterranean, right? Let's go through Turkey. It's the only one. So they're going to want to keep that, and they did. So 100%, they're going to keep that. Absolutely. And maybe they'll leave weapons there too, because they don't want that. They don't want that to fall. And the Turks have agreed. To be clear, the Turks have agreed to this. They're not mad. They're like, okay, fine. Fine. All righty. Someone is telling me my camera's freezing. Okay, let me try to reset it now. Hold on. See if I can reset my camera. See if it will get better. Let me see if I can make it to be better. All righty. Hold on. There we go. And maybe it's better now. I hope so. I just reset it. So we'll see if it's any better. So I hope that was working for you guys. All righty. Let me keep going if I could. All righty. Oh, thank you, Yomir, Larry for governor. I appreciate that. 100%. I do appreciate that. All righty. Phil says the Sharpe inauguration ball. Well, I guess we could call it that if we want to. Actually, I was invited to a couple of inauguration things. I actually said no. I didn't want to go. So I'm worried about New York State and New York City. That's what I'm worried about. So yeah. Mike Voss, he says, without Trump and his strong presence, sanctions to come at Iran, Hamas was never going to stop as Biden-Harris was giving everything to do nothing. Was giving everything to do nothing. But you see, you're making an assumption here, Mike, that it was only Hamas stopping this. It's not true. There were many factions here that people had to get through, right? It wasn't just Hamas. Hamas was a reason, of course, but there were many reasons all around, right? There's factions within Israel. The Egyptians care because it's their border. The Turks care because they're dealing with their stuff in Syria now. I mean, there were a lot of factions here, right? Clearly the Jordanians cared. Clearly the Saudis cared. This is why Witkoff had to jump all around. It wasn't just, if it was just that, he would just go to Israel and go, here's the thing. He went all around. So there were many factions here. I know people like to blame Hamas. Everything's Hamas' fault. No, not for this case. This is everybody's. Everyone had their 2 cents, what they wanted, what they cared about. And the reality of it is, again, all I will give Biden is maybe an assist for keeping it warm. Maybe. That's it. But you're right. The piece is Trump. And it wasn't just a strong presence. I think Phil is right. It's negotiating, right? It's the idea that when you look at the advantage and disadvantage of Trump, for many people, it's a disadvantage. The disadvantage is that because he's non-traditional in this regard, that people are sometimes unable to feel comfortable with him because he's so non-traditional. That's a disadvantage in diplomacy. The advantage in diplomacy is same thing. He's unpredictable. That's also an advantage. It's both. It is both a disadvantage and an advantage. Generally speaking, it's a disadvantage for allies because they don't know how to deal with him, and an advantage when it comes to our enemies because they will be more afraid of him. Generally speaking, there's exceptions, obviously, right? So I think that is both. It's not just one-sided. In this case, negotiating, I think, was even more important. That's what I'm saying. So, Lunatic, thank you for $2. We're all screwed. Hoard food and water. Okay. I'm not going to say you're wrong. I know you didn't see that coming, Lunatic. You're like, Larry's going to say I'm crazy. I'm not. No. There's problems. You're right. There's problems, which is my point. I don't know how this is going to end. Again, if I have a choice between ceasefire and no ceasefire, I take ceasefire because those are the only options I got. But I would prefer something that I'd feel more comfortable with that wouldn't end in another proxy war. That's what I would prefer. But I see another proxy war right on the corner. I think the next proxy war, as I see it now, might be Afghanistan. Maybe. Depends on what they do. Depends where they're going. The advantage the Afghanis have over everyone else in the region, and it's not even close, is they literally have a very young population with hundreds of thousands of bloodied, loyal, fanatic soldiers who have fought against Western powers and won. Iranians don't have that. They don't. Pakistanis don't have that. They don't have that. Pakistanis haven't fought a real war in a decade or more, and that was against the Indians, right? So they don't have that. They do. Why do you think, when you just heard me say the Iranian president went to Russia to meet with Putin so he could send him soldiers? And there are people going to tell you, well, they got fooled because the Russians are desperate. Utter lie. Not true at all. It's not why. He wants to bloody his non-commissioned officer corps just like the North Koreans did. North Koreans didn't go there because they were suckered. That's a story the left will tell you. It's not true at all. That's not a thing. The reality is the North Koreans are like, oh, everyone's rewriting their manuals off of this war. Again, I'm not making this up. All the manuals being rewritten. This is now the new way we're going to fight war. The United States changed how it's doing tank warfare from the Ukraine war. Literally, the Marine Corps has got rid of all its tanks. They're all gone. Decommissioned, all gone, get rid of all its tanks. And the Army's now come up with a new A3 tank, which is completely different because of what happened in Ukraine. They're all rewriting the books here. But the French want to send people there so they can learn this, right? The Ukrainians and the Russians are going to be the people with the most bloodied, combat-ready troops in the world. I'm not joking. They've had 3 years on the front line. Those that are alive still, obviously. That is a very hardened non-commissioned officer corps. Well, where is this going to go? Well, the Iranians are like, wait a minute, I'm getting attacked. And again, this coincides with what I just said. I'm getting attacked by Afghanis who are fanatical, trained, know how to use this, and fearless. They just beat the Americans. And they're coming across my border now, doing border skirmishes and messing up my people. And my people, when they get hit, don't know what to do. They break and run because they don't have combat training. Where's there a war going on right now? Oh, wait a minute, Ukraine. I could send like 10,000 of my guys over there. They could become combat trained. Yeah, 3,000 will die. 2,000 will be wounded. But those 2,000, half of them can be trainers. And 5,000 I'll put into my military as non-commissioned officers to train all my troops. All my recruits I'm going to bring on, I have to fight the Afghanis. Larry, that sounds horrible. That's the way the world works. That's what the North Koreans did. Now, North Korea has been very aggressive, if you've noticed, particularly with Biden. But he also knows you got to be strong against Trump too. So what did he do? Kim Jong-un sent 10,000 of his soldiers to go fight in Russia. 3,000 to be killed, 2,000 to be wounded. He'll have 5,000 non-commissioned officers to come back to have the fight. When's the last time the South Koreans had a fight? Yeah, 70 years ago. Ain't nobody in the military that knows how to fight in South Korea. They've been trained. They've been in a fight. Now North Korea's going to say, no, we've been in a fight. I got 5,000 non-commissioned officers in my ranks. And officers he'll bring up too. He'll put his officers in there too. Officers also. Officers, non-commissioned officers will now be in his ranks. This is how they're thinking. So, lunatic, I went long, but you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So, any case. All right, I'm grab some of these if I can. All righty. You guys want to do each other here or there. Grab a couple more of these. Vivek says, Israeli cabinet official officially approved the deal. Also, I hope everyone saw Rand Paul's questioning of Marco Rubio. I did not. I haven't been watching much of that, to tell you the truth. I probably should be watching more of that. I've been so busy during the day, I haven't had time to sit back and watch it. Maybe I'll watch them over the weekend. Maybe I'll do a show on that. I might do a show on that. I haven't watched much of it at all. And the reason why I haven't is it's what I know it is. It is a bunch of people who are grandstanding, trying to find ways of raising money, right? We're going to fight these people. You're not going to fight anybody. Just raising money. And I get it. I mean, if I was them, I'd do it too. Of course. Yes, absolutely. All righty. Let's see here. If I can, some of these guys going back and forth. Ryan says, thank you for being a member, by the way, Ryan. Peace should be the ultimate goal, but human beings with agendas and loyalties on both sides get in the way of that goal. Yes. I hope that I'm wrong, but they might have a cold diplomatic war brewing. I think that's already happening. Yes. And I think they still want some type of remember, the military industrial complex does not care if their weapons are used or not. The military industrial complex cares if people buy their weapons. So if you buy your weapons and just keep them in a lockbox somewhere, or keep them in a barracks somewhere, or keep them in a building somewhere, I don't care. Just keep buying our weapons. You want to keep stockpiling them so you can threaten your neighbor? Awesome. Buy more. In fact, you have more jets, you'll be even more scared, right? That's what they care about. So I hope it's just to make people scared on both sides, so they keep buying the weapons and people don't die. But again, often when you have all those weapons, you sometimes use them. So yeah, if we were to do a Cold War and the military industrial complex can still make its money without killing people, I would take that. I'd like to get rid of the military industrial complex, but I'd take just nobody dying. I would accept that. I know I'm lowering my expectations here. It's just, yeah, you're right, Ryan. That's why it is that bad. So yes. Lunatic, thank you for the $5. He says, rumor I heard, external incoming on new term start date. Hence, internal organization similar to Eagle. Oh, got it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yes, that there were threats, and that's why. Yeah, that might be the case, but we're not going to say that, right? What they said was security and the weather. So you might be right on that one, Lunatic, but they're not going to say that. They're going to go, we're scared. They're going to say that. They're going to say, well, it's cold. They care about you, Lunatic. If you go over there, they don't want you to get cold, chilly, so they're going to go inside. Nothing to do with security. That might make us look weak. We can't do that. So no, it is it's because you might get cold. They don't want you to get sick. They care about your health. See that? Say the government loves you, Lunatic? Loves you. What are you talking about? Loves you. Absolutely. All righty. Let me grab here. Robert says, Turkey has been a member of NATO since 1952. I'm not sure if that was for me or I don't know. But yes, Phil says there was a leaked audio where Trump said that the PLO was more willing to make a deal than Netanyahu. I'm sure that's true, but it doesn't mean it was going to be easy. Don't get me wrong. If Gaza's getting slaughtered, flattened, of course you want to make a deal. Of course you do, but not just for nothing, right? If the only bargaining tool they have is hostages. That's the only bargaining tool. So, of course, they want to give them away to stop the fighting, but they don't give them away for nothing. They want to get something from it. So, of course, they're more willing. But it doesn't mean it was easy. They still had to come up with something, right? In their perfect world, right? Perfect world. In their realistic perfect world, Israelis, run away and make Gaza great and right, all that. But that's not going to happen. So they get what they can get. So that's the piece. So Michael says, when you going to have a member show? The 27th, 10 days. Not this Monday, but next Monday. I still haven't posted yet, have I? Damn it. You've caught me, Michael. I got to post it. I will post it there tomorrow. I keep saying that, I know, but I keep so damn busy. I will post it. I will post it and ask. Yes, absolutely. Nate Kiddo asked if you know Trump. Thank you, Nate. Please tell her I said hi. I have met Trump one time many years ago. He wasn't president yet when I met him. He was here in New York. I'm sure does not remember it whatsoever. There were many of us, we all shaking hands. So I have physically met Trump one time like 20 years ago. He wasn't even running for president when I met him. And I think it was The Apprentice. I think he was doing The Apprentice show then. He was doing The Apprentice. Yes, he was doing The Apprentice. It was some like press thing in Manhattan. And my office used to be like a block away from his office. So I went, was it lunch? Maybe it was a lunch or something. I forgot what it was. It was some kind of event about The Apprentice, and a bunch of people were there, and I shook his hand. I'm sure he does not remember me at all. And so that's the closest I've gotten to Trump in that regard. I know some of his people. I've met some of his people when they were with the Kennedy people. I met some of those. But no, I'm not friends with Trump. I do not know him personally. I did shake his hand one time, like 20 years ago when he was still doing The Apprentice, which I'm sure he does not remember me at all. I wish I had a better story for you, but that's true. Yes. Mike says inauguration indoors due to threat, not weather, to long range hole puncture threat. I know, but it's weather because they care about you, Mike. They care about you. See? Feel the love? I feel the love. I feel it. We all feel the love. Of course we do. Robert says Israel is not a member of NATO. Israel was designated as a major non-NATO ally in 1987 by U.S. President. Oh, I didn't know that. Is that right? Israel is a major non-NATO ally. I've never even heard that before. There we go. Okay. I didn't know that. I guess U.S. can say that only once. The Turks will decide that or they won't. The Turks have been like the bad boy of NATO for a long time. So yeah, for a long time. So there we go. Okay. Nate says it was Sophia's birthday yesterday. She's listening when I say, hey, Sophia, happy birthday to you. Absolutely. Yes. Michael says, so you keep the gun disassembled and practice with assembling it. So you keep the gun disassembled and practice with assembling it. I don't actually, I guess so. He goes on to ask, Michael goes on to ask, how assembled is a ghost going to have to be to constitute a felony in New York? I'm actually unsure on that law. That's a good question. All I know, it's completely makes no sense. I know it does because all our gun laws make no sense. So yes, makes no sense at all. Yeah. Okay. The AC says they'll be fighting again in 33 days. Wow. 33 days. Ryan says 90 days. Wow. Okay. I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't think we can get to phase 3. I'm not going to get to phase 3. The problem is once the Gazans give whatever hostages, whoever they have left over, once they give those hostages back, they got nothing. They're done. They have nothing. And Israel's not going to, the problem is nothing solved, right? They haven't made, is it a 1-state solution, a 2-state solution? What is it, right? They haven't solved anything. That is stop fighting, which I like. Again, I'm not mad at the stop fighting. I'm glad they're going to stop fighting. That's a good thing. But what did they solve? Nothing. That's my problem. So Israel still doesn't have the borders it wants, and Gaza doesn't have the government that it wants, and a homeland that it wants. Doesn't have either one of those. No. I've told people what the answer is. They won't fix it. They won't fix it. They won't do it. They will not do it. I've told the answer. They will not do it. And the people won't do it. My answer, which is the real answer, is a fantasy because no one wants to do it. The reality of it is you simply bribe the Egyptians into taking them. Period. You can't have the money. Of course, we have money. We could do it. Of course, we could. To even imagine we couldn't is insanely silly. Of course, we could. We could give them all. We print money for nothing. We give billions to Ukraine for nothing. So, of course, we could. We're not going to. That's right. We're not going to. Everyone has a price, and then threaten them. We threaten people all the time. So here's whatever, $200 billion, whatever the number is. I made that number up. Maybe it is Choose $200 billion, take the Gazans. And we're going to give each Gazan, I don't know, 40 grand, whatever the amount is, whatever number. We just print money and make it rain all the time. We do it every day. Give them the money. Here's a bunch of money to go buy land in Egypt. Leave Gaza, go. Just do it. We'll never do that. That's a fantasy I'm making up. Same thing as we're going to fly to the moon tomorrow. Same thing. No difference. But that is the answer. No one will do it. The Gazans won't do it. They don't want to leave their homeland. So they'll just get killed. They don't want to leave it. I get it. I'm not saying, to be clear, I'm not saying that this is a righteous and just answer. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's an answer that gets people to stop dying and gives the Israelis a solid border. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's righteous. People go, but it's their homeland. You know what? New York was a Native American homeland. They ain't getting that back either. Just not. You can be mad at me all you want, blame me all you want. They're not getting it. It's not going to happen ever. And if it was stolen land, that's just fantasy shit the left says. It means nothing. It doesn't mean it. It's irrelevant. It means nothing. It's virtue signaling. And this is all virtue signaling. Except now in the case of Gaza, virtue signaling is tens of thousands of people being killed and murdered and slaughtered. That's your virtue. As I say all the time, virtue signaling kills. Perfect example of it right here in Gaza. It doesn't. I know you think it's unfair and unjust, and it doesn't matter. And you can go protest it. Why, Larry? Why didn't you talk about the protesters in college? Because it didn't matter at all. It did literally nothing. Nothing. It wasn't going to change a thing. It changed nothing. It just made more people hate college students. That's all it did. It didn't do anything else except that. Nothing else but that. So anyway, I'm sorry. You got me way off topic on that one. But yeah, you're probably going to be fighting again. I do. I think it'll be fighting again. I agree. They didn't solve anything. They're never going to solve it. They're never going to. And they should just. But if you solve it, then there's no more military industrial complex. So why would you solve it? You won't. Trade and over on Rumble. Thank you for the $2. Imagine the inauguration speech in the Oval Office. Trump signs executive orders while giving the speech. Immediately on the job, less talk, more results. Straight in. That is brilliant. That's good, straight in. That would look great. Does it in the Oval Office. Does have a lot of fanfare. Starts signing executive orders to fix shit right away. I'm with you. Again, that's never going to happen. But I love the idea. I do. I love the idea. Trump loves fanfare. I mean, most people who do this kind of thing love fanfare, right? Most of them do. I get it. They love it. But no, that's super cool. I like that. That's straight in. That's amazing. It's a good deal. I like that one. I think more people should do that. That would be very impressive. I agree. Yes. All righty. If I can go down here. Mike says, Mike knows. Okay, thank you. Mike says, it doesn't need to be assembled. The parts need to exist. It's an insanely bad law, unconstitutional. Absolutely true. Mike Voss is 100% correct. This is a horrible law. It's embarrassingly bad. It should not exist. In fact, it was struck down by the Supreme Court. And this is what we did. This is New York. And I tell you how bad our judges is. And you often don't believe me. I know some people go, it can't be that bad. Oh, no. They're that bad. So all these laws got passed, all of our judges. They were like, okay, yeah, fine. All good. Yep. The Supreme Court said, you got to be kidding me. No. These are unconstitutional gun laws. And then Kathy Hochul said, unconstitutional. Is that right? Okay, here's 10 more. And when I say here's 10 more, I'm not joking. That's not an exaggeration. We passed 10 more gun laws after the Supreme Court said our gun laws are unconstitutional. We passed 10 more. We don't care. New York State ignores the Constitution. It ignores the Supreme Court. It ignores the Bill of Rights. As I've said 1,000 times, that judge in Dexter Taylor's case literally said, her words, not mine, the Second Amendment doesn't exist in this courtroom. And her punishment was nothing. A judge in New York State said openly that the Bill of Rights does not exist in her courtroom. And her punishment was nothing. That is New York judges. So Mike is correct, and I wish he was wrong. But he's not. He is correct. That's how bad it is. It is insanely bad. It is insanely bad. So yes. The AC says, talking to Mike, we're the best armed populace in history, and something needs to be done about life being unaffordable and income and wealth inequality, and Trump's going to just exacerbate it. I agree with you, AC. I think you're right. I don't think the Second Amendment is the number one issue in America. I don't. I think it's an important issue. I think we don't want to let it go, but I don't think it's the number one issue. I agree. Because an armed populace that is happy and satisfied is a wonderful, safe, and polite community. It's awesome. An armed populace that is unhappy, that can't pay its bills, that can't find love, that can't find family, that can't find community, that feels the system hates it, does what happened in New Orleans and Las Vegas. So yes, I don't think the Second Amendment is the number one thing. I do believe it's a very important part of our Constitution. I do support it completely, as you know I do. I've said it more than once. But you are correct. It is the number one thing. It's low on the list of priorities for Americans. You are correct. Life has to be better for Americans. We need happier. How about that? I'll say we need happier Americans. 100% true. I agree. I think you're totally right. And what we're doing now is not working. Trump's not going to help that either, right? I mean, it's not going to work at all. Yes. The difference, though, is I will say if you look at what I think Trump has done, which is a good thing, and AC, I think if you hear me out, you may agree with this. If you hear me out, and that is, he has shown America where America is, and some people are really unhappy about that. He was called every bad name you could imagine. You know, I don't want to say them on YouTube, I'll cancel, but all of the bad names. He's been called all of them. He has been convicted 34 times, 34 counts, felony. He has a mugshot, and America still picked him. He said the kind of people he would bring into his cabinet, utter people who are oligarchs and will destroy the system, and we still voted for him. And those people are going to tell me, AC, well, a plurality. But hold on. Give or take, 90 million people voted for one, 90 million voted for the other, and 90 million didn't vote at all. So that means 2/3 either said, that's my guy, or another 1/3 said, I don't care enough to vote. It's fine if he's president, whatevs. Yeah. So 2/3 of America either said, that's my guy, or whatevs, he's president, what are you going to do? That's where we are right now. You might go, but Larry, Trump's a better guy, whatever. I don't care if he is or not. We all know one thing he's not. He's not the norm. That's for sure. And we said, we'll take that. So that, I think, is a good thing. Why? Because now we don't have an excuse to not act anymore. Now we don't have an excuse. We got to act some way, at least in theory. So, yes. Lunta, thank you for the $5, my friend. Larry, the worst has come true. All systems deconstructed. How do we survive? Does unity come from strife? How will we rebuild? How do we recover? Here's the reality. People always think, and you see it all the time on TV shows and movies and stuff, if the government falls, there'll be chaos everywhere and blah, blah, blah. That's not true. That's not how it works. What the government actually is, I know some of you will be upset when I say it, but it's true. What the government actually is a very powerful single gang. That's what it is. And we as humans are okay with that if we trust our gang. That's how it works. How do I know this? When there is no government, a black market pops up. What happens to the black market? Gangs, but smaller local gangs pop up. When is there the most peace? When there's one gang, which is why the 5 families, when they get together to make one family, blah, blah, which is when there's, believe it or not, the least amount of violence. Now, there's still corruption within a gang, of course, within a mob. Of course, it's corruption in the government. Of course, it's a big gang. It's the mob. I say it all the time. It's the mob. I'm not joking when I say that. So you wait a minute, Larry. So you're saying we just accept the rule of one gang? Yes, that's what a government is. We're accepting the rule of one gang. Now, if you accept the rule of the gang and go, well, these gang leaders are good. They keep the order. It's fine. We'll keep them. If we do that, then we have a relatively stable society. If we believe and trust in our gang. What does the government do? What do laws do? Laws don't stop people from committing crimes. No, that's not true. They don't stop them. Now, what do laws do? They create, if they're fair and respected, a framework of what's expected, which is much better for any society, right? So if you have good laws, we don't, our laws are garbage. But if you have good laws, you have a framework of what society is. Hammurabi figured this out, 3, 4, 5,000 years ago. He figured that out 5,000 years ago, give or take. Yeah, about 5,000 years ago, he figured it out. You make a framework of what's accepted. Okay, society goes, okay, I get it. That makes sense. I see what's expected of me as an individual within a society. I get it. Again, if you have good laws. Something else, it stops, family feuds. It stops people fighting each other. It stops you rob my house and I slaughter your family. It stops that. Why? Because if I trust my gang gives me justice. So I don't have to go off into his family and destroy this guy. I don't have to kill his family. I don't have to. He did something against me. And my gang leader will do it right. They will provide justice for me. I don't have to do this anymore, which keeps an orderly society. Makes total sense. It does. What happens when you don't trust your gang anymore? When you don't believe in your gang anymore? When you don't, the rules don't make sense anymore. And now the gang is actually against you. What do? You rebel against the gang. Gang warfare. Yes, what you're seeing now. Our gang isn't trusted anymore. Our mob boss is no longer believed. That's not how it works. You got to trust your mob boss. I know it sounds horrible. It's still true. It's still true. When is the most violence? When is the most gangs? Why is there so much violence in Chicago? People say, it's all the gangs and the gang bang. Nope, it's the government's fault. What? Larry, did you just blame the government for the violence in Chicago? Yes, I did. And I will explain to you right now. Generally speaking, when there is a black market, there tends to be 1 or 2 big gangs, generally speaking. 1 or 2, sometimes 3, but usually around 1 or 2. Why? Because that's the amount of people you can handle in one area. It's like Coke or Pepsi. And there's some kind of border between the gangs. Within the gang territory, there tends to be less violence. Why? They're trying to make money. This is about making cash. It tends to be less violence in those areas, which is why back in the day, a lot of the cops, as long as there was no border wars, wouldn't do much. They'd let the gangs work because, okay, fine, no one's getting shot. Who cares, right? It's fine. And when there's one border, there's only one border to have skirmishes over, right? It's one person moves over, whatever, that's it. Well, the government did such a good job, the feds particularly in Chicago, of infiltrating all the gangs and turning everyone against each other. Well, now when you can't trust your gang, as I just explained to you, they no longer trust their gang. Why? Because the government's infiltrating, don't trust anybody. So what happens? Well, now you don't have 2 gangs. You have 40 gangs, 50 gangs, only people who you know and you've grown up with, only people you trust, who you think the government hasn't turned or hasn't infiltrated. So now you have 30 or 40 gangs. Well, if I have 30, 40, 50 gangs, I now have 30, 40, 50, 100 borders in between those gangs. So now I have 100 border wars, not 1 or 2. More border wars, less trust, more violence. That's how that works. That's where chaos comes from. They're all gangs. The question is, do we have one big gang that we trust? That's the issue. When you don't trust your gang, you rebel against it. And you get New Orleans, Las Vegas, etc. And these are all former gang members. They were both military. I am also a former gang member. Yes, we are all former gang members, right? Yes, you don't trust your gang anymore, you rebel. I wish it was something other, but that's what it is at its core. So you are correct, lunatic. The system gets constructed. How do we survive? We create our own local gangs. What we do, you see it happening already. All these little cells they worry about, these are all local gangs. It's all creating. And the unity comes from each gang, and the gangs have to get back together and trust each other again. It's just rebuilding trust. That's how you recover. And that will happen eventually. I went long on that. I know I did. Sorry, guys. But yes, in any case, let me keep going down here if I could. All righty. If I keep going down here. Kim says, the anti-corporatists, talking to AC, man will never fix man's systems as man is busy trying to remake God's creation. You know, there's a piece to that I remember someone told me about years ago. And it's kind of what you're talking about, Kim. It was someone said that man's goal has always been to become God. And so many men are trying to become God. We try to control nature, control the world, control fate, control destiny. There may be some truth to what you're saying even based on what other people are talking about. So yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. All righty. Algorithm. Yes. Thank you guys. And since you said that, let me go ahead and say, click the button known as like. I can see some of you aren't clicking it. I don't know why you aren't. Click that button known as like. It does matter. Each time you click it, Mr. Rhythm goes, hey, people click and like. This might be good. I should show other people that. So do it. Also share if you could. Every little share does matter. Wherever you can share it, put it into a Facebook post, share on X, whatever the case may be, please do that. If you have not subscribed yet, please do so. And then click all notifications when you subscribe on YouTube. Please do that. You know what super chat me, see people super chatting, please do so. Or rant me on Rumble, either one. All good. All of them work. You can become a member if you want to. Click that join button on YouTube. $49 per month keeps me going. If I had more members, I might not have taken this last gig I took. In fact, to be funny, Mike was with me. Mike was with me when I got that job text. Mike was actually with me in the car when I got that text, and I was like, I don't want to take this. He was there. I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Then the dude was like, yeah, come on. It's like, all right. So I said, yeah. So I took it. So now I'm working more. Why? Because I don't have the members. If I had more members, I could have maybe said no. I could have done it. I could have said no, but I need more members. So just saying. Anyway, click the button known as like, and we can keep rocking and rolling. It does matter. Every little bit counts. I know I keep asking you because it matters. That's why I ask you, because it does matter. That's the entire reason. All right, let me keep going down here if I could. All righty. Phil says, do you think Bibi will be prime minister of Israel in a year? Isn't this war was keeping him in power? Yes, I do. I think Bibi will be in power. I do. I think he will. I think he has shown that he is very concerned about whatever you think about Netanyahu. A lot of people don't like him. I don't like him either, by the way. But whether I like him or not doesn't matter. What matters is everyone does know that he does care about his country. He is doing what he believes is correct for his country. I think everyone knows that. You may disagree with what he's doing, but I think everyone knows he absolutely wants to do what's best for his country. And I think it's showing. And I think that people, I mean, if you're Israeli, you want someone who cares about the country. So I do think it will work. So yes. So anyway, all righty. Ryan, I already asked Larry. I got nothing back from him, which I think is a no answer. Right. You asked me something, Ryan. I didn't respond to you. Did I not respond, Ryan? I don't know. Did you ask here or something else? I don't know. I don't know what you asked me. I apologize. I must have missed this. Oh, okay. There's other stuff here. Okay. Are you asking me to go? Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. There's so many things going by. I sometimes miss things, Ryan. I apologize if I missed something. If I missed it, I do apologize. That wasn't my issue. All righty. Let me keep going down here if I can. Kim says Larry loves New York. This is true. I do love my state. I do. Absolutely. Ryan goes on to say, when it comes to the ceasefire, I give 0% of credit to Lindsey Graham, Tom Cotton, Dan Crenshaw, and most radio show hosts. Correct. Yes. They don't want it to end. They don't want it to end. Completely agree. Yes. Ryan says, oh, Phil, I say yes. I believe that Israel and Hamas will resume fighting by June. The issue is, how does Hamas fight? Now, doesn't mean they won't. Iran is not in a good space right now, right? I don't see the Turks supporting Hamas in any way. I don't see that happening at all. Do the Saudis support them then? Is that what they do? Do the Saudis? Is that the way? I don't know how they fight. I'm not sure. I mean, I guess just if you're saying fighting as in just attacks here or there, the big T word attacks, that I would say yes. But all-out battle, I don't see Hamas having the ability to carry out anything like that. I mean, maybe I'm missing something, right? Who's going to back them? The Egyptians aren't going to. Maybe the Saudis. But why would the Saudis do it? The Saudis are the ones who are now trying to get normalization with Israel, right? They want normalization with Israel. Maybe just like small attacks here or there. Maybe I don't see an all-going thing. I don't see that. I don't. So yeah. Trey over there on on Rumble asked, "Thank you for $2, my friend. Did Trump put a libertarian on his team? I didn't see one yet. We'll see. I hope so. I didn't see one yet. We still got time. I hope he does. He said he would. He also said he'd free Ross. Let's hope he does. So I know a lot of people are like, Larry, why aren't you excited? I always said he can always change his mind. This goes back to what I talked about before. Trump is not predictable. That is both a good and a bad thing. And I said use his good against his enemies and bad against his allies. Yes, often true. Again, same thing. Yes. So, all right. Ryan says, I asked you in 2022 on X. Oh, that's okay. That's what it was. To relocate to Missouri. It was kind of tongue in cheek, as I knew that you're a New Yorker through and through. Oh, got it. Okay, that's what you meant. I have considered moving from New York many times. I have. I think I told the story before. Back in 2017, I was actually going to leave. I was done with New York for 2016, how bad things were. Things didn't go the way I wanted to go. I was considering moving. And for what I do for a living, I usually consult with large companies, what I usually do. So I need to go to a large city. I thought, you know what? I'm going to North Carolina because I thought Charlotte was a big city, had lots of big corporations there. I could move to Charlotte. At the time, I could sell my shoebox of a house here in Queens and buy a mansion in North Carolina with that same amount of money and pay less taxes, have money left over. I thought, great idea. So I considered doing it. But so I went down to Charlotte. Literally, I drove down there and looked around. And I thought, this place is great. This is wonderful. I like it. And then when I came back, I got mad. I said, why do I have to leave my great state? New York is a beautiful state with everything you can imagine. I say it all the time, and I'll keep saying it. It is a beautiful state, particularly in the fall. New York in the fall is unbeatable. It's just an amazingly beautiful state. You have everything you could possibly want. Beaches, rivers, mountains, forest, farmland, the biggest city in the country, Broadway, the Yankees, Madison Square Garden, Buffalo Bills, Niagara Falls, whatever you can imagine. Amazing. It's a great state. And it has a garbage government. The government that destroys it. That just devastates it. So I thought, I'm going to go back. I'm going to run for governor. I'm going to win, change the state. And that didn't go as planned, but that was the plan. Afterwards, I still considered leaving again. And I thought about leaving after 2022. 2020, 2022, I was thinking, you know what? I can't, this doesn't work. I can't fix this thing. Maybe I should leave. I thought about going to Tennessee. I thought about going to Chattanooga. Why Chattanooga? Chattanooga is in between two hubs, Atlanta and Nashville, which I thought 2 hubs if I need to get any place, fly any place, whatever. I'm near 2 hubs if I can get there, which is good within 2 hours, which is awesome. And it has great, it's a great college town. I get a job at a teaching in college if I want to. I've taught before in college. I get a job at a college if I want to. So if I get part-time, whatever the case may be. Has the best internet in the entire country. Chattanooga does. And Tennessee has no state income tax. But I'll go there. I'm considering it. Still, I've little bits there, but then I thought, you know what? I'm not a Southerner. I'm just not. I'm a Northeastern guy. That's who I am. It's clear from my voice how fast I speak. So now I've been thinking about New Hampshire, Nashua area, somewhere in there, because that's about an hour out of Boston. So again, I'm close to a hub. New Hampshire, of course, has the best gun rights in the entire country. Lowest crime because of it. They'll go together in the entire country. A lot of libertarians there. People know me there. And no state income tax. So now I'm considering that. I'd never really thought about Missouri. I know some people from Missouri and people who are in Missouri right now. So yeah, I know Austin Peterson, obviously, out of Missouri. So there's a lot of people who I know who are in Missouri and people who are from Missouri. So I never really thought of it, to tell you the truth. But anyway, I went down a long road, but I was thinking, but I had considered leaving. So far, I'm not still. I will not be leaving this year for sure, and probably not next year either. But would I consider leaving in 2027, 2028? Maybe. It depends on how good or bad things going into this couple of elections. So, oh wait, there aren't going to be any more elections. I forgot. If Trump won, they told us there are going to be no elections. So there won't be any more elections. So once the no elections happen in 2025 and 2026, if those no elections that are never going to happen because Trump will stop them because that's what we were told, then I'll decide if I want to stay or not. But I am a New Yorker. It's obvious, isn't it? Anyway, so, and I do want to save my state. You know, I think I told you when I was doing that one show, when I was showing you Nicole Shanahan talk about California, and California's in a similar boat, just a disaster state like New York is. And she was saying things like, I really want to change my state. I want to save my state. And boy, I felt that. Not for California, obviously, I'm not a Californian. But boy, did I feel that for New York. I still do. So I get Nicole Shanahan, like I get her completely. Like we are simpatico. She wants to save her beautiful state from the insanely horrible, terrible government it has. And I want to save my state from the horrible, terrible government that it has. I want to also. So, yes. Anyway. All righty. Lunatic says, Larry, Sharpe is your gang set. Ooh, I like that. National needs a convention. We'll get it done with numbers, words as weapons, and thoughts and motivation for change. Ooh, Lunatic, getting some. Sharpies is your gang set. National needs a convention. We'll get it done with numbers, words as weapons, and thoughts as motivation for change. Maybe you see, maybe I will do a presidential run in 2028. You're gonna get behind me, Lunatic. Get all the people behind me. Head over to National. Make this thing happen this time. Maybe we will. Maybe I won't leave yet. Maybe I won't. I like that. Thank you for the $5, my friend. I do appreciate it. So, Shredan says, RFK Jr. is not a libertarian. Lol. Yeah, I never said he was. I never said he was. I said that he had the best chance of getting 5%. And that was absolutely true until he didn't go on. But there was no one who had a better chance of 5% than him last year. He had the best chance to get 5%, hands down. And he was sucking up all the money from everybody else, which is another piece that no one seemed to want to understand. So anyway, yes. All righty, if I can go down here, I'll grab a couple more of these. Vivek says, all-time best Democratic president is Grover Cleveland. Best Republican president is Calvin Coolidge. Okay. Lunatic says, USS Liberty. Oh, yeah. If anybody wants to, yeah. If you have a moment, anyone who cares, who thinks how much Israel is our friend and loves us so much, Google USS Liberty. Lunatic is correct. That will give you some information on how much they love us and how we just don't bother understanding any of that. So, yes, 100% true. Just do that. You'll see. So, Liberty Lady over on Rumble says, Straight Ed was referring to LP leadership claiming RFK is libertarian in Canada. Yes, no, I'm aware of that. All I'm saying is I'm not agreeing with that. That's all I'm saying. I'm not agreeing with that. I'm not saying that's true. That's not where I am. So, yes. Phil says, Larry, do you think there will be a civil rights case against the judge? There are lawsuits about voting rights, etc. Okay. A buddy of mine who's a lawyer years ago told me something, and I hated it, but he was right. Just because I hated it doesn't mean it wasn't true. I hated it. And what he said was, Larry, can you afford justice? And I was like, damn, I don't want that to be true. And it's true. Could there be a civil rights case? Sure. Who's going to take it? Who's going to pay for it? There's no money coming on the end of it, and it's going to fail. Because remember, the judges who would be judging this are her judges, other judges, right? I've been in court, in an appeals court, with terrible decisions, but they support each other. The judges support each other. So, yes, but who's going to drop the six figures it will take to do it to get nothing in return? Maybe one day I'll be a gazillionaire. I would do it every single year. If I had like Jeff Bezos' money, or if I had Mark Cuban's money, if I had Elon Musk's money, I would be funding these things every year, Phil. Every year. I would literally have lawyers on retainer. Okay, sell lawsuits again. Let's go. Hit this one, hit this one, hit this one. I'd be doing it all day long. That would be like, I would have a separate part of my family office that was just for suing judges on civil rights cases. I would just have that. That's what I would do. Sadly, I don't know anyone doing that. Maybe one day, my friend. But yes, who's going to do it? Yeah. Anyway, so, all righty. Let me grab through here if I could. The AC says, Bernie would have owned him, but the libs, especially Barry Obama, Couldn't let that happen. It would tarnish his legacy if Bernie got better health care through. I'm not sure. I think that was for somebody else. That wasn't for me. Sorry about that. Yeah. Okay. Ryan says, fair, respect the laws. That's kind of hilarious in this day and age. Correct. And one of the reasons is, right, is that most of the laws that we make today are useless laws. Why do we need them? Why do we need them? For what? 200 laws last year, 600 laws, whatever it was last year. For what? We've already got like murder and fraud. Those are the laws that count. Those already had them for a long time. Again, since Hammurabi. Had that one since Hammurabi. Yeah, it's terrible. Terrible. Yeah. Phil says, I'm watching The Godfather of Harlem with Forrest Whitaker and Vincent D'Onofrio. It's really interesting seeing them interacting with politicians as competing gangs. Correct. That's what they are. That's the point. Ryan goes on to say, government's the ultimate gang. Correct. Yes. T-Bone, Larry's a gangster. I hope one day. Ryan says, Larry, you gangbanger, you. One day. Yes. Phil says, Marines are boat gangsters. I like that. Yes. Navy CB here. There we go. Now you guys are hardcore too. So yes, absolutely. 100%. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, all righty. Grab some more of these if I could. All right. Kim says, why are you not drinking from a Sharpe Way mug? I do. Because my daughters broke my mugs. This one's even cracked. So yes, that was the reason why. I had 2 or 3 Sharpe Way mugs and 2 or 3 Larry Sharpe government mugs. They broke all of them. I have to go buy new ones. That is the reason why. So yes, I don't know if you have children, Kim. I do. And they break things. That's the reason. Mike says, Netanyahu is effective and thus will continue to be in power. I'm not sure it's the effective part, Mike. I'm not sure that's the reason. I think when people believe that you're fighting for them, they tend to want to keep you, even if you're failing, right? I'm not saying he is, but even if he was failing, I still think that he has shown that, again, whether you agree with what he's doing or not, that this guy cares about his country and will do whatever it takes for his country. And I think when people see that, they're drawn to it. Even if he was failing, they'd be like, yeah, but this dude keeps fighting for me. He's still fighting. I don't care. Okay, he failed. Okay, he lost. But what the rest of the guys doing? Nothing. He's fighting. So I do think that it's more than what you're saying. I think Israelis are seeing him as someone who will do what he thinks is best for his country, no matter what, even if we disagree. And I'm not a Netanyahu fan. I'm not. Doesn't matter what I think. I'm not Israeli. It doesn't matter what I think. But I think that's true, though. People see him as he's fighting for us. Yeah. Yeah. AC says, I told you to go on Lemon. I know I got to go on Don Lemon. I got to go on. I'm going to call him up. See. Yes. Mike goes on to say, no, Hamas will not return to fighting this year, nor Hezbollah or Houthis. Iran will have the money. Yeah, that's my point. I agree with you, Mike. Except the Houthis. The Houthis still have cash. They still have cash. So I think they may go on for a bit. They still have cash. They've got some reserves left over. But you're right. I don't know where they get the money from. I don't know where they get the money from. I can't imagine. If they somehow get funded, I mean, I don't know where the money comes from. I think you're right, Mike. I can't. I'm stretching, trying to find a stretch. Russians? I mean, maybe. That's a stretch. Stretch Russia. But Russia has its own problems in Ukraine. I don't know. If the war in Ukraine ends, Russia might throw money behind some of these. Maybe. Okay, there's my stretch. There's my stretch, Mike. My stretch is, if the war in Ukraine ends this year, is it possible Russia supports 1 or 2 or 3 of these in an attempt to keep these proxy wars going? Maybe. Otherwise, I can't see any other way. I think you're right. I can't see another way of doing it. So, yeah. So, anyway. All righty. Let's see if I can go now here. Phil says New Hampshire, libertarian homeland. Supposed to be. I'm not sure it actually is, but it is supposed to be. Ryan says Missouri is kind of libertarian capital Midwest. So if I go Midwest, I got to go there? Okay. Phil says you could probably save a fortune just moving upstate. True. I have thought of it. I have been offered to be a radio talk show host in a couple of upstate markets more than once. And I've considered taking it. I've considered being like, you know what? I'm just going to go up there and be like, it's Larry Sharpe morning show or whatever. I've considered some of those things. I have. But it's a different lifestyle for me. Then I wouldn't be doing my business consulting, and I'd be working for somebody. So I'd be, concerned about what I say, getting canceled, all that kind of stuff if I work for somebody else. It's much easier me working for myself. Like I haven't had a job in 21 years. Why would I have one now? Right. So, but I have thought of it. You're right. I can move upstate, run some afternoon talk show in one of the cities up there, right? Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, Albany, whatever. I could do something like that, right? Probably, maybe Binghamton, maybe. So I could do something like that. So yeah, but I've decided not. But yeah, I could save money and get a job and the whole deal. But I don't know. I guess I don't want to make that change up my life yet. Maybe when I get older. I'm still young. I'm a baby, Phil. Come on now. All right, looking over at Rumble, Liberty Lady says, Larry, do you hold on. Did you have a good reception at the event you went to past Tuesday? I did. I went to the Maha Action event last Tuesday in Albany. That's why I did not have my radio show Tuesday morning. So that's something that some of you actually, for some of you who probably were looking for my show on Tuesday at 1, they did a repeat. They did a repeat show because I wasn't there live. So I was in Albany. It was pretty good. Talked to a lot of people. Probably had, I don't know, 50 people, maybe 100. I don't know, maybe 50. I couldn't tell because people were like moving around and stuff. And maybe 50, I'm guessing. I'm not sure. Mike was there. Mike, did you? I think about 50, I think. That's where my head is, but I could be off. I spoke for a short time, probably 5-10 minutes. Not much long. They had me open, which was crazy. I didn't know I was going to open. I literally showed up. And they're like, "Oh my God, Larry's here. Hey, Larry, can you open on?" Sure, I'll open. So I opened for the thing and didn't know I was opening for it. I guess other people had come late and the parking was bad. But yeah, I thought it was good. I met a lot of people who I'd already talked before and met some important leadership from. I met some important leadership up there, which was good. So that was good too. Some more people, some donors. So that was good also. Friends who I'd met in the past. That was good too. So yeah, it was good. I was happy I was there. Glad I went. Long ass ride. Had my daughter drive. So it's easy for me to drive. So yeah, I brought Mike with me. Mike came up also. Oh yeah, Joel says here over on Rumble, Mike posted a BLM group crashing it. Yes, they crashed it. Talking about Brooks. Is that guy's name? Brooks, right? Talking about him. Just yelling and screaming. Just. I get you're unhappy about that. I understand that. I do. I get why people would be upset. The idea that you would just come in and crash an event that's already happening and just scream the same thing for 20 minutes and wreck everything, that kind of selfishness always makes me upset. Like only your thing matters that you're mad about. No one else's thing matters, just yours does. And that's what they did. And yeah, it was bad. Anyway, I left after that. I'm like, okay, I'm done. Me and Mike left after that. We took off. We were like, okay, we're out. I let Mike do his thing because Mike was doing his thing. I was like, do your thing, Mike. Okay, you done? Okay, let's go. Then we took off. So yeah, it was not good in that regard. But anyway, I hope that answered your question. So, all right, let me keep going down here if I can. T-Bone says, what's the reason for Zuckerberg moving Facebook to Texas? Why does everybody move from California to Texas? Why does everyone move? Friendlier business environment, better employees, better business environment for employees too, and no state income tax. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Businesses leaving California left and right. Of course they are. Leaving New York too. As I say, New York, as I've said before, New York is losing $20 billion in revenue every year from migration. And that's according to the IRS. IRS numbers. 20 billion every year due to migration, people packing up and leaving New York State. $20 billion every year. Again, according to IRS. Not my numbers, IRS's numbers. That's where that comes from. Same thing with California. Why would you stay? Why would you stay? Why do I stay here? Out of loyalty is why I stay here. It's stupid, I know, but it's true. That's the reason. Out of loyalty. Stupid, I get it. Guilty as charged and still true, regardless. Absolutely true. So yes, it is crazy. I really, of course they move. Zuckerberg's moving because he'll get better employees, better business environment, lower taxes. Why wouldn't he move? When I was on Rogan was still in California. Now he's in Texas. When I went on Glenn Beck told me that he wanted to do it in New York. He wanted to build his studio out in New York. He did. We sat at a talk. He's like, I wanted to build my studio in New York. I said, you can't do it in New York. He goes, you're right. I can't. I said, there's no way. There's impossible. You could. He has like a hangar for an airplane. He has a massive studio, multiple cameras. He's got multiple studios. It's a big, beautiful setup that Glenn Beck's got. Beautiful. Couldn't make that in New York State. No way. Couldn't hire who he wants to hire. Couldn't do what he wants to do. Terrible atmosphere. Couldn't get the land. Couldn't build it. New York City wouldn't let him build it. He said, I can't even build it. He couldn't get permits to build the damn thing. He wanted to do it in New York because he was in New York when he was in New York when he was doing one of his shows. And he liked it. He wanted to because it's the center of everything, right? When it came to media back then, it was. This is obviously many years ago, but it was a center of media. It still is kind of, but he wanted to do that, right? So he couldn't. So he's in Dallas, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's in Dallas. Is he in Houston? Austin? No, he's in Dallas. I think he's in Dallas. So anyway, yeah, that's why he left. They all do. That's why I wanted to leave. The amount of taxes that I pay in New York State, I've shown my daughter the amount of taxes I pay just monthly. I just showed her monthly. She's like, that's crazy. I know. It's insane. To get a garbage MTA where they set people on fire. That's what I pay for. I pay that in taxes every month so I can get a subway where they set people on fire. Where that I can't tell someone that if someone has a haircut that some judge deems as ethnic and I don't hire them, I get sued because they assume that I didn't hire them because of the haircut. I'm not joking. So if someone comes to you and they have dreads, I'm not joking, and you don't hire them, you have to prove, this is New York City law, that you didn't hire them for some other reason. The idea of guilt, innocence until proven guilty does not exist in employment law in New York State. You are guilty, assumed. That's how our law is written. You have to prove you're not guilty. So if some guy or gal says, Larry didn't hire me because I have dreads, I have to prove that I didn't hire him or her for some other reason, or I'm guilty. That's how New York State works. Why would you start a business here? Why would you hire anybody here? Why? And that's what we're worried about. We're going to be friendly to business by doing that. But Larry, it's racism. Shut up. Stop. The amount of people who are not being hired for their haircuts is minuscule. And that's your number one priority. It's minuscule. And if you're hired because of your haircut, so what? Go to the job where you have the haircut you want to have, or cut your hair into your haircut. I don't care. It's not a thing that matters at all. It is more virtue signaling that makes businesses leave. And that's an actual law in New York City. That's an actual law. And now you can't even do it because of weight. Yes. So I now have to accommodate you if you weigh X amount of, I have to accommodate you. I'm not saying I shouldn't. And if you're talented, I often will. And lots of people who are heavy get jobs because they're talented. But now I must. That's my problem. So now if you weigh 500 pounds and I don't hire you, I have to prove that there was another reason for not hiring. Otherwise, it's assumed I did it because you're 500 pounds. Well, maybe I don't care if you're 500 pounds. Maybe you're working at home. Maybe I don't care anyway. Maybe I have a large store that you can get around quick. Fine. I don't care. I don't care. But I have to prove something else. Why think people start doing homework on you and then don't bother hiring you anymore? Why think so many people put all their resumes and don't get seen? Because if you get interviewed and you're any of those things and I don't hire you, I'm guilty. That's how New York City works. I'm guilty. I have to prove that I'm not. So I'd rather go through all the resumes and assume no. Assume no. Because once you're in front of me, I'm guilty if I don't hire you. That's the problem. So anyway, I hope I went way long, but I hope I answered your question at least. So yes. Okay. Andrea says, Larry, you can move to Illinois and get pulled over for having fuzzy dice hanging from your your rearview mirror. It's true. I could do that. And you know what? I've wanted that for a long time. Far NorCal Meat says, we all want to save California, but sadly, I do not see a scenario where it's possible to save it. It's gone too far down the socialist path. There is an advantage, as I mentioned. The piece that people are finally seeing that this is a problem. There may be a chance to save it. That is my hope. That is my hope. And the next piece is, you guys do have Nicole Shanahan. It's true. Ryan says, I Googled and researched USS Liberty. Mm-hmm. At 35 minutes, I quit reading due to anger and sadness. What a black eye for a nation's history. Correct. Yes. Correct. We haven't duped yet again. It is embarrassing how bad we are. Yes. Anyway. All righty. Lunatic says, if 40 subscribes, that's an army of many regiments. Yes, I agree. Yes, I agree. 100%. Absolutely. All righty. Ryan goes on to say, Larry, I lost my childhood friend and his wife due to a drunk driver. We have a plethora of, laws in the books. That jerk who killed them both would never be stopped by law. Correct. Yes. Correct. I'm not saying we shouldn't have laws. I'm not. I'm just saying that doesn't stop people from doing bad things. And I'll give you the perfect example. If your childhood friend didn't die, but he instead just lost his wife to that drunk driver, and if that drunk driver was still alive, if your childhood friend believed in the system, he won't go after that drunk driver because he will let the gang take care of it, as is supposed to happen, as is the reason why you submit to the gang. You submit to the gang, you submit to the mobster, because the mobster, it's a protection racket. The mobster agrees that if someone does something to you, they will take care of them. That's what the mob boss says. Do you trust your mob boss? That drunk driver gets his. I don't have to say, I don't do anything. I'm part of the gang. I've submitted to the gang. That's what I get. But if he thought nothing's going to happen to that drunk driver, that drunk driver might have an accident later. If you know what I'm saying. That's what laws do. Laws can ensure that if your childhood friend had survived, that he wouldn't go after and go, oh, you took my wife, now I'm taking your wife, and I'm taking you, which is what used to happen. That used to be the thing. And that's when you get blood feuds that last 100 years. But if everyone agrees to the gang, then the gang and provides justice for the childhood friend. So he doesn't have to go do it himself. That's why he submits to the gang. That's why you pay your taxes. It's a protection racket. This is just the mob. I'm not making this up. It's what it is. It's the mob. So, but when it's the mob, if someone, what does the mobster say? Nice store you got here. Shame somebody, you did something to it. Okay, then I'm paying my protection racket. So if someone does something to it, then you got to go get them. That's why I pay my protection. What am I paying protection for? For nothing. These guys robbed my store. I better see some ass whipping happening. That's why I pay my protection. That's taxes. That's government. So yes. So anyway. All right. Jamie goes on to say, Israel is not a real ally of the United States. That's true. And I'm not mad at him. It's just true. I agree. It's true. So, any case. Let me grab this if I could. Lunatic says, imagine if wars were fought on goods and resources and whether or not your fighters starve. Imagine if wars were fought on goods and resources and whether or not your fighters starve. I'm not sure what you mean by that. You want to say, imagine if the populace stopped sending goods to market and function. I mean, that could happen. The problem is, right, this is the problem that I keep talking about. A lot of people want to fix the system quickly. I do too. The problem is so many of us are beholden to it. Over 60 million Americans get a check from the government every month. 60 million. It's only 330 million Americans. It's about what? 1 in 5, 1 in 6 get a check from the government. And many of those people, they need that check to survive. That's where they are. Okay. How do we fix that? I'm just going to stop. Well, they're our family. They're our friends. They're our neighbors, people that we know. So I go back to the same thing. I'm not saying these people don't need money and shouldn't get something. I don't know each of them, but the community would. We have to rebuild our communities so our communities can support people. If our communities can support them, the government doesn't have to. Right? But the government takes over and now we don't care. And that's the worst part. Now, when someone's getting a check from the government, it's like the government. It's a blank check. It's faceless. I feel like I deserve it. I'm entitled to it. It doesn't matter. It's just government money. It's invisible. It doesn't matter. So I'll just keep taking it. Who cares? If I don't take it, you're stupid. I take your money. I agree, by the way. I don't mean to be mean, but if the government's if they're going to give stimmy checks out, I'm taking my stimmy check. I'm not going to not take it. I'm taking it too. I'm as guilty as the rest. I would take it. My problem is we shouldn't have to. There should be, there isn't obviously. Community would know. If your community was actually supporting you, if you were in trouble, if you had a problem, if you had a kid and you needed help, whatever, and your community, if there was a way for the community to support, you would feel like you owed that community. You'd want to give back. Of course, it was human nature. Now, will there be some jerks? Would there be some jerks? Of course. But the vast majority of people would want to give back. You want to support your community in return. So now when someone else is in trouble, you're like, I got you. When I was in trouble, my community supported me. You're in trouble, and I'm in a good spot now, I will help you out. That's what should be happening. And again, the only example I have of this right now I can think of is the Amish, right? And again, I did a show on this. The Amish are growing. The Amish are growing. Why? Lunatic, you're right. People want that. At our core, we would rather have community supporting us than government at our core. But that's not the world we live in. The world is go get your benefits, right? Get your check, move on. And they're right. I'm being very forward. If someone's going to write me a check, I'm taking it. I'm not going to be all right. Oh, take your stimmy check back. I'm taking it. I'm spending it. Of course I can. I'd like to change that world because there are people who need help. There are people who are in trouble. But it should be community and not government. So, yes. Let's see here. Ingrid says, so are you stating that people are going to rebel? Is this for me, Ingrid? And use guns within the system? No, I don't think that's true. I don't. But I do think that when you have a group, when you have a well-armed populace, it becomes a lot harder for government to oppress you, right? Well-armed minorities are very hard to oppress. One of the first things they did after the Civil War was over was create gun laws to pull guns out of the hands of former slaves. And if you're the government, smart move. If you're a Southern government, really smart move, right? For them, of course, right? You have a bunch of people who you've been screwed over, have nothing to lose. They can do a lot of damage. Of course, that's why they do it. I get that. I don't agree with it, but I get it. So I don't think it's going to happen. But does that encourage them to rebel? No. Does it discourage government from oppressing? Yes. How do I know that? I think one of the best answers, one of the best examples of that was the Bundy Ranch. Was that Wyoming? Colorado? I forgot where, somewhere out west. I forgot where that was. I think it was Wyoming. Anyway, wherever it was, the government wanted to come take his stuff. He got a bunch of his guys all armed. The government backed off. Perfect example of that. Yes. When did Australia literally build camps and put people in camps? Have to go the guns away. You think you can do that in America? Ingrid, think you can do it in America? You think now, particularly after what happened during the lockdowns, you think now the government could say we're going to build camps and we're going to put people into those, stick camps. We can go do that. Never would happen. Why? Because nobody wants, and I'll be very clear, nobody wants deleted law enforcement. Nobody wins with that. And I mean, nobody wins with that. Everyone loses when that happens because then nothing but more violence occurs. And even the government knows that. They know that's going to happen. They back off. We're done. Back off. That's what it does. So no, it doesn't get people to rebel. It slows the government down from being as oppressive. It slows them down. That's what it does. So I hope that was clear. Mike goes, no, Russia won't do it. Not a natural sponsor of that ideology and no benefit to Russia. Plus, Iran will become enemy as those are their puppets without Iran global. I'm not fighting you. I said I was stretching. It's a stretch. I'm not fighting you, Mike. I think it'll be a stretch. That was the only way I could see it. If they wanted to, if the Russian leadership believed, and I don't know if they do or not, if they believed that a way of bleeding out the West would be another proxy war like Afghanistan or Iraq, that's when they might do it if that were the case. But otherwise, I agree with you. I don't think they would. Yeah. Yeah. All righty. Let's see if I can do this here. Ryan, thank you for the $5. Larry, when are you and No Soundbites Allowed going to have the best Star Wars / Star Trek best villain show or tournament? Inquiring my, I'm up if he wants to do it. I'm up. That's just Mike's show, not my show. I don't run his show. He runs his show. Got to ask him. You got to ask him, and then he'll tell you. You got to ask him. I'll come on the show if he wants me to come on. That's Mike's show. You got to ask him. He goes on to say, I love Glenn Beck. Yeah, I got to tell you, I did many interviews in 2018. I mean, dozens, maybe hundreds. So many interviews I did. Glenn Beck was my favorite interview. And the reason is Glenn Beck and I are actually friends. Like we know each other. And he wasn't like just some guy, if that makes any sense. So when we had that conversation, it was a real conversation when people like we'd already talked before, like we knew each other already. So that was my problem. That was my favorite. If anyone cares, you want to watch the interview, it's about an hour and a half long, maybe give or take an hour, maybe in that area. You can go on my YouTube page, just put Larry Sharpe Glenn Beck. It'll pop up about an hour and a half long. It was one of those early episodes. We're like episode 8, 10, something like that. The early episode. My favorite interview. I really enjoyed it. Ryan goes on to say, faith, hope, and charity better than government. Correct. That is an accurate statement. Yes. Accurate statement. 100%. Yes. All righty. Keep going down here. If I can go down here. Mike says 200 people. Was it that many? Damn, I thought like 50. I was working the crowd, so I didn't know. Like literally, Mike went in early with my daughter to set up the camera and such. He went in, and I was literally just walking in, shaking hands, kissing babies. Mike said, "Follow me afterwards." He set up things like follow me with the camera. So yeah, it was pretty good. So yeah, I just was shaking hands, meeting people, catching up. I walked up. I just did all that. I thought it was like 50. Okay, 200. I believe you, Mike. You saw it better than I did. I was in my own world. So yeah, he goes on to say, I took several wide shot photos. Okay, there we go. Yep. So Phil says, Larry, babyface, show up. I'm a baby, Phil. It's my mobster name, babyface. That's my mobster name. Absolutely, yes. All righty. Pinkerbro says, Texas has a judicial system that's unfriendly to labor, which is a big draw for him. Yes, I agree. You're right. Yes. Pinkerbrow's correct. Yes. Texas is much. New York is the opposite. New York is so pro-labor that it crushes small businesses. That is how bad New York has gone too far. But Texas, I think, is the opposite. It's accurate statement, Pinkerbell. If I tell people who want to start business in New York State, I say, are you going to hire somebody? They go, yeah, I'm hiring somebody. I said, that's when the punishment starts. What? I said, never hire somebody in New York State unless you can afford to hire 3 people. What? Yes. Hire no one unless you can afford to hire 3 people. That's how much it's going to cost you. The second you start a business in general, what also New York State does, for those of you who started a business in New York State, the second you start a business, they start sending you billing that you owe the state for taxes, for workers' comp. They'll start sending you bills. And if you don't have a savvy accountant, you'll get scared. And you'll call them and go, how do I can't afford these bills. And they'll negotiate with you. New York State will negotiate with you. Of course they will. Because in reality, you don't owe anything. If you're a solopreneur, you do not require workers' comp. They know that. They still send you a bill immediately saying you owe workers' comp. This is the thing that happens all the time in New York State. And then you begin to negotiate with them. So instead of paying $40,000, you pay $10,000 or $20,000. They just took the money from you. Well, if you have an accountant, the accountant goes, stop. He doesn't owe it. You go, okay. I'm not making this up. That's a thing. That's how New York State extorts small business owners. The second you start a business, they see it gets registered, they send you bills. You owe us money. Now, I happen to know my business, I go, I don't owe you shit. And then my accountant gives my accountant, he says, get away from me. And they go, okay. But if you don't know any better, you go, oh my God, the government's coming out there. I'm scared. I can't afford 40,000. Can you afford 20? Yeah, give me 20. Give me $20,000. And they're good. A little extortion. That's New York State. They're the opposite. New York State is the opposite. They literally punish you. And big business doesn't worry about it because they know the rules already. So big business, and they're already companies already. So they laugh at this stuff, right? In fact, what some of you may not know, the bigger the business you are, by percentage, the less you pay in fines and fees. Why? You negotiate them. The state and city will always negotiate. People will tell you that. They won't get paid. They won't get paid. So if you can't afford it, they don't get paid. So they'll always negotiate, right? Small business owners don't know that. So what happens? So I get a fine. I'm a bakery, and I get a fine for $5,000. I just want to pay it. I'm scared. You got to pay us. And they shake their fist at you and get scared, and you pay $5,000. Okay. But I'm not a bakery. I'm a huge bakery. And I own one large bakery and 10 stores. Well, now I got 10 stores. I got tons of stuff now. Well, I get problems too, same problems, because the laws are written, regulations are written so poorly to ensure that you're always fined. That's why they write so many of them. You can never know them all. It's impossible to know them all. So you will get fined. So you get fined. In fact, when like health inspectors come, they literally say openly, I got to find something on you. They will tell you that. Pickerbell, I wish I was making this up. I'm not. Ask anybody who lives in New York City who gets inspected by the state or the city. I got to find something on you. They will just keep looking until they find something. Because they have to, they've got to validate them being around. So they got to find something. So now I own 10 bakeries. So they find something on all my bakeries, right? And my fines are, I don't know, $400,000. I'm not paying that. I'm not paying $400,000. I'm not paying that. Well, yes, Larry, you have to, because that guy paid $5,000. Oh, it's $50,000. You got to pay. So you 10, you got $50,000. I'm not paying $50,000. No way. I'm not going to pay $50,000. I'm not paying you that. You owe us whatever. I pay 10. Okay. So that works. I pay 10. Okay. So I give them 10,000 for 10 stores, but you pay 5,000 for one store. That's New York City. That's New York State. And that happens all the time. And I say this openly, like this is live. So if I'm wrong, you could sue me. The state could sue me for libel or whatever. Is it libel? Whatever is the thing. Not libel. It's not print. Whatever. Defamation. Whatever. They could say I'm whatever. They don't ever, because it's true. I could probably find 15 witnesses tomorrow in my local area that will go, yeah, Larry's right. And they don't want that. They don't want that in court. They don't want that legally to be in court. That their people do that shit. Do it all the time. That is the norm. And again, one of the worst ones are like the FedExes and the UPSs and those guys, right? They run literally millions of dollars in parking tickets. Millions, probably tens of millions of dollars in parking tickets every year in New York City. Millions of dollars. They pay probably 10 cents on a dollar. They wrap them all up at the end, right? End of the year. Okay, here's up. We owe what? 8 million? We'll give you $1 million. New York City goes, okay. Done. But I get a ticket for $120. I'm paying $120 or I'm going to jail. My ticket's $120. I'm paying $120, Pinkerbell, or I'm going to jail. But FedEx, 10 cents on a dollar, 20 cents on a dollar. It's fine. That's how it works. So yeah. Straight N says the state inspectors practice lying. This is from Straight N, somebody else. Nobody is that clean. If I don't find something, I'm not doing my job. So we give them something cheap and easy to fix. This is not from me. This is from Straight N. This is literally from Straight N on Rumble saying that. I didn't say that. Him. He knows. We know. That's how it works. Yes. I wish we were making this up, but that's how it works. Yes. All righty. Let's see here. Michael's going to say, I was very upset. No major media covered the Maha rally in Albany. Same day as they had the state. They were there. No excuse. They had a time. They then suppressed coverage by independents like you and me. Correct. Yes. Absolutely true. Yes. Yep. So anyway, I hope I answered your question. I know you asked a long one, but I hope I answered it. I'd Pinkerbell. And I hope I walked down that road the way you want me to walk down. It is a problem. So yes. All righty. Let's see here. Andrea says, some people look great on their resume, but are terrible at personal skills. Correct. Yes, that's true. 100%. Mike says, 40K is a reference to Warhammer miniature gaming system at Larry. Lots of lore where Space Marines are central. I'm an Alfarius. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. Sorry. Ryan says, Larry, what you said about my childhood friend makes sense. Yes. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. Yes. Joel goes on Rumble and he says, that works for electrical inspectors. I've seen it. Yes. Triden says, I carried the ladder for state inspectors in a hospital. Yes. That's how it works. I wish I was making this up. I'm not making this up. Yes. Christine says, an armed society is a polite society. If it's happy, Christine, and that was my piece, we have to make sure that we have happy people who can find purpose, who can find love, who can find respect. You find that, and you are correct. Without it, you have a dangerous society, right? Yes, absolutely. Andrea says, did you hear Walgreens CEO said that locking up products hurts their bottom line even more than theft? How more Walgreens are going to close as their solution made it worse? Walgreens is closing, more and more of them. New York City is losing tons of them. New York City is losing CVS, Walgreens, Dwayne, losing them all. They're all leaving. It's true. You can't stop anymore. We can't stop anymore. The theft is just too much, and people are deciding to not do it anymore. So people aren't buying there anymore. So they're either buying. The problem is, this goes where I was talking about the check, right? Here's the problem. If I walk towards my Walgreens or towards my CVS or whatever, on the way there, I can find people selling what they stole on the street. I'm not joking. Mike lives in New York City too. He can tell me if I'm wrong or right. He knows it too. You can find them selling those goods they stole on the street for half the price. I shouldn't buy it. But if I go in there, I'm going to pay twice as much because I'm paying for the guys who stole. And I got to wait forever. And I got to be like I'm a criminal while I'm there. Or I can just buy it from this guy at half price and I'm done. And they do nothing about it. The cops don't care. The cops don't stop it. And the prosecutors won't stop it. And the city doesn't care. So now I become the sucker for going to the store and paying the higher price and waiting longer and putting up with more shit. I'm now the sucker. I just bought on the street. What's wrong with me? Who's stupid? Me or them? That's what winds up happening. That's why these places have a market. They shouldn't have a market. But at one point, New Yorkers go, what am I, stupid? I'll buy it here. It's the same. He just stole it from there. I'm not joking. He just stole it. So it's the same product. I'll buy it there. The cops don't care. Sometimes the cops are there and don't do anything. Sometimes the cops are physically there. Don't do anything. So that's what winds up happening. Now that has to change eventually. It just has to. There's no way around it. Because eventually the system can't function anymore. So eventually it will change. You see, finally they're starting to do the thing in the subway. I've been talking about this in the subway for years. Just, you don't have to do all this other garbage. Just make it to where you can't jump over the turnstile. That's it. Just do that. They're finally doing that now. Because now people are saying, why am I paying? Same thing, Andrea. Why am I paying? Why am I going to pay for a subway when I was just jumping it? So I'm going to pay more for what? Or worse, here's the part that's even worse. I don't want to pay because I feel like a sucker. So now I don't want to go down there because I feel like a sucker. So I'd rather just not use it. And I'll walk or use the bus or whatever. Not paying for the bus either. People aren't paying for the bus anymore. Because we have a new system where you prepay like the Europeans do when no one fucking pays. Now you got me going, Andrea, on how insanely broken and stupid my city is. And it just makes things worse constantly and spends money to make things worse. Anyway, I'll keep going before I go. See, Andrew, you got me on. It's your fault, Andrea. It's your fault. You got me on mad. I'm blaming you now. There we go. Grace says Clive Bunny was Nevada. Thank you, Nevada. I thought it was Wyoming. Thank you. Yes, Grace. Thank you. Clive Bunny was in Nevada. I knew it was out west someplace. There we go. Okay. Let me see here. Andrew goes, that was great. But yeah, I did like that one. Yes. Lunatic says 2018 is now 7 years ago. I know it was a while ago. It was a while ago. That's my first run for governor. It was 2018. I started my run in 2017. I know I started on my birthday, which is July 12th. I started on my birthday, July 12th, 2017. That's when I started my run. So yeah, absolutely. So any case. All righty. Let's see if I can go down here if I could. Grace was on to say labor is the biggest expense for a business. Often is. Sometimes, depending upon where you are, it can be real estate. Depends on how many people you do. So yes, absolutely. Christine says, shaking babies, kissing hands. I try to not shake any babies because you can get in a lot of trouble for that. You can really get a lot of trouble for that, for sure. Absolutely. All righty. AC says, oh, Echo and the Bunnymen is who sings that. What's up with you younger ladies who know all the great older songs? I know Echo and the Bunnymen. I actually had their album, Killing Moon. I think did I get that right? A Killing Moon? The Killing Moon, right? Killing Moon. 2 of them. Bring on the Dancing Horses, Killing Moon, a couple of them. So yes, I remember many of them. I do. So I was a Echo and the Bunnymen fan. I still like them. I've still listened. I still know it. So yes. Yeah. Anyway, Ryan says also a huge Beastie Boys fan. Me too. Back in the day, absolutely. Or the before Beastie Boys. Some of you old enough remember before Beastie Boys, Third Base. Some of you may remember that one. I don't know if you remember that one or not, but yeah, that's back there. Mike says same thing with paying for mass transit. Oh, there we go. Yes, thank you. You just got it. Yes, you're following me perfectly, Mike. Fare hoppers are constant. Bus or train makes you feel crazy with paying. Yes, it makes you feel. Yeah, Michael Stone says, "Yep, happens all day." Mike sees it. Mike's in the city with me. He sees it. He sees it. You feel like a sucker. Like why am I doing this? You feel like a sucker. It's terrible. So absolutely. All righty. I think, all right. Michael goes on to say, more into Dead Kennedys and The Cure. I was also a huge Cure fan. I had all of the Cure songs, all of them. Back from Let's Go to Bed, 70s. Killing an Arab, 70s also. All the way to their 1990s stuff. They did something in 2000, I think. Yeah, I had all their CDs, all this stuff, all of it. Yeah. I remember Let's Go to Bed. I saw the video on MTV. Remember that one. So yes. And the lead singer, Robert Smith, by the way, with his wife since he was 14 years old. Same woman. Now, has he cheated or not? Who knows? He is a band lead singer, so he may have been dodged around a bit. Who knows? But he's still with her, at least I know, since he was 14 years old. So yes, interesting. So anyway, Ryan, thank you for the $5. Larry, I know you're a pizza fascist. True. Just know that I'm a hamburger fascist. Okay. In-N-Out and Hardee's for me, but mostly it's local places. Okay, I'm gonna tell you something. I actually like In-N-Out burgers a lot. I really do like In-N-Out burgers, and I'd only go on the In-N-Out is West Coast, so you don't know. In-N-Out burger is West Coast. You can't get them in New York. I mean, unless they had when they brought up something, but no, it's West Coast. So I remember I was in. When was this? I think I actually had, this had to be early 90s. I think I was in California. I was at Camp Pendleton, Marine Corps base, and someone took me to In-N-Out. And I was like, this is good. And when I thought, I don't know if it's true then, if it's still true now, but then that's all In-N-Out had. Like you got burgers and fries. It was like a menu was just like, you can get like 1 burger and French fries, or you can get 2 burgers and French fries, and whatever. Like, and that was like it. That's what you could get. There wasn't like, and there's our chicken sandwich, and no. If you come in here, get burgers, or why you here? That literally was what In-N-Out was about. And I thought this is amazing and they're delicious. I completely agree. I like it. I like In-N-Out. I think I agree completely, and I also do like, to your point, like a diner burger, like a regular restaurant burger. I like both of those. I am with you 100% on this. Yes, but I am a pizza fascist. Accurate. Guilty as charged. Grace says, Larry, you are so Gen X like me. I am Gen X. It's true. I am. I'm a Gen Xer. It is true. You guys may not know. I know I look like a baby and like I'm 20 years old, but I'm not. I'm 56. So I'm absolutely a Gen Xer. I was born 1968. I'm a Gen Xer, 100%. Ryan says, my mom, conservative Republican, and I were Cure fans in the 80s. We sang their songs as she thought it would help with my dyslexia. Aw, that's cute. I love that. That is great. I always thought that the Cure, the songs that I enjoyed the most were songs with amazing lyrics that were very poetic, which is why I liked a lot of early rap from the 80s and early 90s before it got too too violent. A lot of it had amazing poetry. Even some of the gangster rap had good poetry. But earlier stuff, I think, had better poetry. And I thought that was a part that I really enjoyed too much. I also enjoyed the band The. Some of their poetry is amazing. Is it August and September? Wonderful poems. Absolutely. So yes. And The Cure has great songs. Love songs that are really love songs that are really about someone falling in love. Stuff you don't really hear today anymore. Now, most of the songs today aren't about love. They tend to be about sex, which good for you if that's what you want. I'm not mad at you for it. But the songs from The Cures were about men actually falling in love, men actually like falling for somebody and feeling terrible. I remember one of the lyrics from the the name of the song was August and September. I think that's right. What kind of man was I who would sacrifice your happiness to satisfy his pride? What an amazing line, right? What kind of man was I who would delay your destiny to appease his tiny mind? Think about that kind of, you don't hear that kind of stuff now. So yeah, that I do agree with you on that one. And a lot of the Cure songs are really about love. And I think it's because Robert Smith is a romantic himself. That's what I think it is. So anyway, we keep going on to this. Ryan goes on to say heavy metal, classic rock, and Korn. I enjoyed Korn too. I did. Yes. Grace says Robert Smith of the Cure hates the British monarchy. He is hysterical in his disdain for the crown. Makes sense. That actually makes sense. I agree with that. Mike says, best song ever, One of These Days on Animals album, Pink Floyd. Next is Sandstorm by Darude. Sandstorm is classic. Yes, I can still listen to that today, Mike. I agree with you. Sands, absolutely classic, 100%. Totally classic. Absolutely. So, any case, we went way off topic, but it is the AMA, so I guess we can do that. Guys, I'm going to ask one more time, if I could, please click the button known as like. I know I ask often. It matters. If you click this button, people will see it. People will share it. It does matter. Please do it. If you have not shared this, please share it into anything. I don't care where you share it. Put it into something. It does matter. Please subscribe to the best of your ability. It does matter. Please do that. If you want to super chat, you can. Love those. You can always become a member if you like. I want to head on over, if I could real quick, to Rumble. And hold on. Larry Sharpe is a Cancer. That's correct. My mom was born July 4th. Yes. And by the way, Peace Logic, who's off and on, not on tonight, also born July 12th. July 4th. Sorry, July 4th. Also a Cancer. So yes. Little Lady goes on to say, MTV actually played music. It did. I remember. It did play music. I still remember that MTV, it actually, you could watch it. You watch it like 8 o'clock on like a Monday or whatever it was. And that's when the premieres happened. You knew that was the new premiere of the new video that would happen at a certain time every week. But I forgot what it was, 8 o'clock on something like that. That was kind of interesting. So yes. Liberty Lady asks, will you have your radio show this Tuesday at 1 p.m.? Yes, I will. Radio show back on. Remember, I was away last Tuesday in Albany. So yes. Farnell Academy says, Larry, how can you possibly know so much about so many darn things? I know everything. No. Oh my God, Andrew, the Headbangers Ball. Yes, that was amazing. 100%. The piece that, what I'll say is I have a good memory. How about that? That's what I will say. I have a good memory. There we go. I have a good memory, and I have a good enough diet, keto, which keeps my brain functioning well. That is how I can remember so many things. How about that? Is that good? Is that a good answer? I also have synesthesia, which allows me to see time in my head as stairs. I think I told you this before. So I have that in my head. So history is seen as stairs. So I'm able to do that much more easier than the average person who doesn't have that issue. My youngest daughter also has synesthesia. My oldest did not inherit. It's inheritable. So I got it from my mom and my dad. I know who. I'm adopted, so I don't know who my biological parents are. So one of them probably had it. I inherited from my mom or my dad. And my youngest daughter inherited from me. My oldest did not. My youngest daughter also has synesthesia. So that allows me to, I see time as colored stairs in my head. If you can imagine if you can imagine, say, a pilot who can kind of see almost like a, something go on in front of them, in front of the screen. In my head, I see time in that way, whether that is days or months or decades, which is why I'm often very good on when something happened at a given time, because it's easy to pop into my head. So that's why. It's one reason. I also have a very good memory, and I'm also an audible learner, and that's very few people are actually audible learners. So since I'm an audible learner, when I hear things, I remember them. So it also helps. And the last piece of all those things I know so much is I'm a bit older than most people. There we go. I've been around a bit, and I've been trying to learn things for a long time. I also have a love of learning. So the next thing I'll add on is, for many people, I talked was the beginning of this year about trying to recharge, right? It's important to recharge. For many people, recharging is something physical. For example, meditation for many people, running for some people, weightlifting for some people, sleeping for some people. For most people, recharging is something physical. Not everybody, but the majority of people, something physical is what gets them. Some people actually eating, believe it or not, will recharge them. Depends on the person. Most people will do that. For me, my recharge is learning. So I'm always trying to learn something, always. And because I'm an audible learner, it sticks very well. Pick about nose, audible learner. Bingo. Pick about you, you're an audible also. Only about 20% of humans are audible learners. Most are either kinesthetic or visual. Only about 20% are audible. You and I are audible. And that's why we're able to, I can retain a lot that I hear. And Pick about obviously the same. So yes. Pick about, you also told me that you're on the spectrum. If you're on a spectrum, the advantage of people who are sometimes on the spectrum when it comes to learning depends on the person. Some people on a spectrum, they have a trouble with empathy, and because of that, they're unable to learn as well as others in the traditional ways. They have to have different ways of learning. Some people on the spectrum, the opposite is true. They're able to actually push other things out, so that when they hear something, they're able to focus so strongly, they remember it almost like phenomenal. Depends on where you are on the spectrum. So you may be on that part of the spectrum. I don't know your details, Pink, about, but you may be on that piece of spectrum to where you can focus with your listening. So boom, everything else goes away. You'll find some people who are on the spectrum who, if they see something, everything else goes away. They can just see the one thing, and it gives them almost like a photographic memory. But they're visual learners. Audible learners like yourself, Pink, about, you probably have an ability to do that. That's my assumption. I don't know if that's true, but it's, for what you're telling me, it sounds that way. So that's what it sounds like. Yes. Fonoka says, Larry, it sounds like you're a type of genius. I'm older than you and haven't accumulated that much knowledge. I'm a visual learner. Most people are visual learners. Yeah. Oh, Primo says, yes, that's pretty close. That's the norm. That's what I figured. Yes, that is the norm. That for someone like you, that makes sense. There we go. Good. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for this evening. I'm going to let you guys run. I do have to go back to work this weekend. If I feel motivated, I might do a show this weekend, but I probably won't be forward. I'm crazy busy. I'm going to catch up on a lot of work, but I will be doing an inauguration day, and I am grabbing Mike Voss for Monday night. So you can go yell at him or me, either one you like, on Monday. Please, at the end of this, if you do me a small favor, I always ask for something at the end of the show for you to put something someplace. So please do me a favor, put your favorite song or favorite band, either one, as a comment after this is over, either on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you are. I will respond. I will see you all very soon.